Going on, everybody? Welcome back to the New York Sports Take, episode number 6, alongside special guest Andrew Huber. Happy to have you on the show today. A lot to get into. We have week 9 of the NFL rolling around. Can you believe it that we're at this point of the season already? The New York Giants are looking for just their 3rd win of the season against the Niners. We got Yankees off-season talk. Do we pursue Tucker? Do we just lock up Cody? How about those frustrating Knicks? They beat the Cavs, they beat the Celtics, and then lose back-to-back games to the lesser teams in the Heat and the Milwaukee Bucks. Hopefully they get back on track tonight against a pretty weak Bulls team, but they are 4-0, so watch out for that. Bulls might be a little bit better than some people think. But it's great to have you on, Andrew. How are you?
I'm great. How are you, kid?
I'm great, man. I'm looking forward to Jets bye week. So, as much as the Jets are
this week,
a pretty uninteresting story throughout the NFL. But for me, at least, when they're on 1 o'clock on Sunday, I'm obviously all locked into that. But now I could just roll on Scott Hansen, 7 hours of, this year now, commercial-filled football, which is kind of a shame. But I'm pumped up for this Giants game. What are they? 2.5? Are they favored or no? They're 2.5 point dogs, right? Yeah. So very exciting matchup. Let's start off last week though in Philadelphia. You guys just got completely gashed by the run game. I mean, Saquon let it off with what, like a
65-yarder, second play of the game.
Second play of the game. The run defense has been abysmal. Obviously, we could talk about the refs and everything that went down there. But, are you chalking that game up to just bad officiating, kind of just throw it away? Or are you really frustrated with where the team's at?
I'm frustrated with how the team is, coached right now, kind of. I feel like there's no discipline on the roster. The defensive coordinator is an absolute joke now.
Bowen's
it's
a joke.
3 straight games of 30 points. And listen, the talent's there on the defense too. Obviously, the secondary was kind of depleted last game. Didn't have a Debo, didn't have Holland. So Tay Banks was out there, and they were just running laps on him. But listen, Scatterbo going down, you can't really control. It seems like we've just had bad luck all year. But I kind of just chalked it away as let me just see what Dart can do in this game. We're going to lose we're not going to go 2-0 against the Eagles. High chances we don't do that. The Eagles need to win these games now. Enough screwing around. So
Hadn't beaten Philadelphia, swept them since I think 2000, and you haven't won in their place still. This is really sad. Since 2013.
Yeah.
The cards weren't aligned. I was talking with Drew Nadler ahead of this matchup last week. Go check out the last episode. Well, who cares anymore? But yeah, I was talking. It just and you guys outright beat. Right? You guys just beat them to a pulp at MetLife. Great win. Probably the win of what's going to end up being the win of the season for you guys in prime time. Jackson Dart's first game against the Chargers was really exciting, but that was just his first test, and he passed, and he was excellent in that game. But he was 10 times the player that in that game against Philly at home. I think he ran for 65 yards. Vic Fangio and their defensive scheme would not let that happen again. I think he only had 2 rushes, 9 yards in the first quarter. Wasn't really able to get anything going with his legs after that. And when that's the case, Andrew, with your depleted receiver corps, that's the thing. And we're going to talk about the defense a little bit and the lack of production from what's supposed to be this otherworldly pass rush. But when you focus offensively, Dart has done a remarkably good job making the most of an offense that just has nothing. Nothing. There were some nice throws that he made on double moves down the sideline to Theo Johnson. But when Theo Johnson's your number 1 target, the guy he's got a catching problem. He can't even catch the ball. It's awful.
No, yeah, I totally agree. And, I was on my way to school today. I caught some, WFAN radio, and I don't agree with whatever sometimes they just talk whatever they want. But, I heard some interesting calls today where, people were kind of the Dable debate where, how many more wins or, what else does, Darts looked great, obviously, but Dable's the coach, and he's just not doing a good job. This is year 4 of him. We've been 2-6 in the first 8 games, 3 years in a row, coming off the playoff win that season. So it's like now we're looking, can Dart produce without Dable? Or is Dart like just under Dable, which I don't think is true at all. I think Dart is just a great quarterback. Will be a great quarterback, and he doesn't need Dable. I think Dable's just doing what he's supposed to for him, but he doesn't know how to lead a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I hear you. And actually, we could build off of this because I also got caught a glimpse of BT and Sal. Sal was solo today on the fan. He was talking a lot about the defense. Sal's wrong a lot of the time. Sometimes I feel like calling in just to rip the man because he has some brutal takes that never work out. But today he made really valid. I agree with him, everything with the defense, and Bowen's a disaster and they're underperforming and blah blah blah. We'll talk about that in just a second. But he said, and this is where I disagree with him, and I really want to know how you feel as a fan. I'm a Jets fan. I really don't give a shit. But is it more about, I understand wins and losses are important. Like if you guys, and you got a really tough schedule, one of the toughest remaining schedules in football. If you go out and Dart continues to progress as well as he has the past few weeks, he continues to move the ball down the field, show that poise, show that aura, show that he is a really good pocket passer. Like he just continues to build and grow, and it looks like Dable's the guy, and the offense is clicking and it's working even with the depleted receivers. Is that good enough for year 5 for Dable, or do you need to see the results in the win-loss column?
I personally think I need to see a couple more wins because I need to see a culture. I need to see the team obviously the team, you could see between when Russ played and then when Dart plays now, the team is way behind Dart now. They really want to win. They play hard, and I'm not going to take that away from them. But Dable's doing more things to lose games than win games as the head coach right now. We've went through the kicker situations throughout the years.
But I pin that on Joe Shane. Like, how is that Dable's fault? That is a front office issue.
Because he's the coach, though. He's still the coach. He's leading this team. And you can't blow a 19-0 lead as a coach, also.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with the 19.
And don't get me wrong, Joe Shane's roster construction has not been good, and I'm not going to say that, but it goes down to the whole front office, the whole team, because Dable knows these guys. He knows this is his team. He knows that Graham Gano is 38 years old, and he pulls a groin every fucking week. Excuse my language, but
yeah,
it's just at the end of the day, it's gonna go back to him as well as Shane. The only thing I will say about Dable is that he drafted Dart, so he gets a little bit of a pass on that because he chose Dart to be his guy.
You're totally. Joe Shane wanted Shador, man. When you really think about it, yeah.
Yeah, and look where that one ended up. Shador's in the 5th round.
Yeah, I really believe that they are a package deal. I know John Mara can dismiss it all he wants and there's no such thing. But is there any world in which that Dable returns and they let go of Joe Shane? I don't think Shane deserves to keep his job, to be honest with you. I mean, he's missed in tons of these. He's missed on first rounders. He hasn't addressed, and at this point, we could kind of transition into the defense. That interior defensive line the pass rush has been okay, but it hasn't been as overwhelming as everybody was making it out to be at the beginning of the season. This is supposed to be a top 5 defense. They're going to do this. I know that sacks are kind of a little bit of a skewed stat. They don't represent the whole picture, but they're 13th in the league in sacks. They only have 19. Brian Burns has been great. He's got 10. I understand Abdul Carter, his pressure rate's great. He's great on pressure rates, but the team isn't. Let's see right here. I have the numbers for you. They have, I can't find it right now, but it's like they're like 23rd in the league in pressure rate. So they're not going to get done. Obviously, Sexy Dexy's underperformed. Yeah. Now, I do disagree with what Carl Banks said because he's still getting a lot of attention. I mean, he's still getting doubled all the time. I don't really know where those comments felt a little bit unwarranted. What'd you think of that?
I mean, I just think he's trying to light a fire under him, Because, one thing I will say about, what Carl said is Dexter has not, shown passion this year. Is he even riding for the coaching staff? He doesn't look like he wants to be there sometimes. But, listen, he is getting double teamed. he's still the best defensive tackle in the league, and we know this. But is it more of
Right.
just like the scheme, also like how, like again, like we said like 2 weeks ago, and how is Dexter Lawrence off the field in the end of that Broncos game? Why is he on the field? It's Dexter Lawrence, you know.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But
Mhm.
I just feel like, and Carl Banks, by the way, he is the color commentator for Giants games on the Fan. Like this is not a guy, he's not Colin Cowher on Fox saying this on a talk show to
He's
get
around the
clicks
team.
and
This
get
guy.
views. He's around the team. He's an in-house media guy. He deals with these guys on a daily basis. He's in the locker room. He's been there forever, and he pretty much works, he doesn't work exactly for the Giants. He works for WFAN, who broadcast Giant games. But I mean, this guy is practically still in bed with the organization. So for him to, I mean, those are, and Sexy said it himself, and I would take it the same way. He said that those are harsh words. Like those words mean a lot. And yeah, he's underperformed this year. He hasn't been terrible. I mean, he had the big play against the Chargers that kind of swung the momentum. But particularly what he said was just not accurate because Lawrence is still getting double teamed at a really high clip. He's still getting attention. 74 points. So 75% of pass rush opportunities, he's getting doubled 3 out of 4 times. It's down 7% this year, the pressure rate. There's no doubt about it. He needs to be better. There's still a whole nother second half of football. Maybe, like you said,
Maybe this lights a fire under him.
maybe this lights a little spark under him, gets him going a little bit. It's not too late for him to break out. And again, I mean, he tore his, what he tear his bicep? No, that was
Yeah.
the
And I don't think he fully
elbow.
recovered from that either.
No, he claims that it's not an elbow issue. It has nothing to do with it. But
Yeah.
hey, I mean, your pressure rate's down 7% versus it was 11.5 last year. It's down to 7, so it's actually only down 4.5%. And you're pretty much getting doubled the same amount. I don't think he's aging necessarily. Maybe he is, but I feel like it's more related to the injury. He barely had any time in camp to ramp up. Kind of was just thrown into the fire this year. So maybe now that he's got 8 games under his belt, he gets going, and this is a spark he needs. But I feel like that spark should come within. Like it shouldn't have to come from the team's broadcaster.
Yeah, it should be coming
Shane
from the head
Bowen.
coach and the people in the organization, not Carl Banks, who's a WFA.
It should come from the DC instead of
And,
the DC.
and yeah, definitely the DC. But this is why we're ranked in defense. We're probably bottom 7 in the league.
Third in scoring and like 27th in yards per game.
Yeah, so pretty much a bottom 10 defense in the league right now, which is horrible, and we shouldn't be a bottom 10 defense. We added talent, we brought in what we need, and I'm not gonna say we brought in everything we need, but like it's just still the Shane is not addressing the needs that have been needs for like 4 years. Run
Yeah.
defense hasn't been good, and how many? I'm gonna ask you this: how many players have you seen digress in Shane Bowen's system? Since
A lot, especially this secondary. Like they have, a lot of people. I had this argument with Giant fans going into the talked about how great the defense was. I expected the pass rush to be better. I thought that you guys were going to be better at stopping the run, but Joe Shane refuses to address the interior defensive line. Outside of Dexter, there's nobody. Would you guys get Alexander? He fucking stinks. Like
yeah, third round pick. It's like it's not just
that
he's
was
not going to go in there and solve the issue.
in his 4 years as GM, that was the first time that he's drafted a DT within the first 4 rounds. Like the Jets have Quinnen Williams. Credit to Darren Muji, who's had his misses this year. But before the season, it was a big area of concern. Outside of him, we were lacking major depth at that position. He went out and got Juwan Briggs and Harrison Phillips, who have been great. And outside of the Bengals game last week that we won, the best thing the Jets do is run the ball and stop the run, because of those trades that he made. For Joe Shane in year 4 to not have the intuition to add depth there, major indictment on him. But going back to the point that you made regarding regression, take a look at the secondary. I mean, they've spent money, they've used draft compensation on these guys, and they keep. I mean, Bobby Okereke, he's getting worse. He's 29 at this point in time, but I feel like injuries, whatever, he's lost a step. Drew Phillips, he can't stop the run. He's got tackling issues. Tyler Nubin's had his ups and downs, but for a second-round pick, he's terrible.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're right. Javon Holland and who's the other
Javon
guy?
Holland and Debo have been all right, but again,
They've
they're
been
not
all right,
doing
but
what
they
they're
were brought
supposed
in here to be difference makers, and they haven't.
to. I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like, well, it took a long time for. Don't even get me started on Deontay Banks. Thank gosh that they finally turned a blind eye towards him. I mean, you're the fan. Like, what? How frustrating was it that he's splitting reps out there the first 6 weeks? How does it take Shane Bowen and company so long to finally say, "Hey, this guy can't be out there"?
Like I don't know if you watched. You probably watched the game last week. There was one play where like Devontae Smith got the ball at the sideline, and he was like 10 yards away from him. I don't know if you saw that clip, but
Oh, I think,
he
yeah,
was
yeah,
nowhere close to him. I don't know where he was going. Like, but yeah, I mean, it's so sad too because I mean his rookie year he really showed promise, and obviously like I said, a lot of guys have gotten worse under Bowen's system. I'm not going to say Banks is a great player, but he has got drastically worse since Bowen has taken over. So is Okereke. I mean, Drew Phillips is. I mean, I like him a lot, but he's still young. I'm not really like too worried about him. But those are like my two main guys that like I've seen a crazy like regression in, and just
It's abysmal. I mean, it's inexcusable. It's an indictment on Shane. It's an indictment on the defense. And I understand. Like, it's easy. It's always easy to just blame the DC and whatever. And this goes back to the Dable point, whatever. But Dable, he takes some. He's the coach. Like, Glenn takes some of the heat for the Jets' offensive struggles, as he should. He's out there supporting Justin Fields, who prior to last week looked horrible. And he takes a lot of the heat for that. Brian Dable ought to take some of the heat for blowing a 18-point lead in the fourth quarter against the Broncos. I don't care that the defense blew it. I don't care that it was Shane Bowen's call to do the prevent defense on the last big play to Mims. Brian Dable he's the head coach. Put a hand in there. Stop that from happening. But he didn't. And it cost you the game. And a lot of things. The kicker, we've exhausted the points about that game. It's in the rearview mirror 2 weeks ago. But yeah, it's just frustrating. I mean, big picture, man, like, I know you shouldn't have won the Saints game because you turned the ball over 5 times in a row, but say that doesn't happen. You win that game.
they should be
Dallas,
4-3. 4-3
Dallas
or
and
4-4.
Denver, man, you just got
I'm
to win
being so
those.
serious too. They should honestly be around 500. They're not a bad team. Everyone knows it too. You'd be lying if you say the Giants shouldn't be 500 right now. They definitely should. They're not as bad as they used to be. They just beat themselves over and over again. Over and over again. And since Dart has taken over, they've looked like a completely different offense. And maybe that's just because Mike Kafka and Dable call better plays for a quarterback like Dart. And, obviously it didn't work with Russ. But listen, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say Wandale's a wide receiver one, but he sure as hell has been playing like a really pretty good wide receiver too. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah,
Step
I
up in the
don't
second
know.
half, but
Yeah, so last thing, building off of what you said about Wandell, obviously, for him to be the WR1 the rest of the way is not a service to Jackson Dart whatsoever. You talk about we want to see him improve. Whether the record gets better or not, we still want to see Dart progress. And that's going to become increasingly hard with defensive coordinators around the league now being able to game plan for him if he doesn't have any weapons. So that leads me to the question, even though, yes, playoffs are 99% out of the picture, especially with your schedule. But to help Dart in his progression and, Dable and Shane with their backs against the wall, they kind of have nothing to lose. Like, if they don't show this year that they deserve to be around, then they'll get canned. So should they trade for a wide receiver? And who do you think would be a good fit? And don't say, like, the conversation about Waddle and Olave is over
yeah,
because there's no
yeah.
playoffs. It would have to be like I don't know, Jerry Judy.
I got you. Yeah, no, I wasn't even gonna say Waddle or Olave. That's out of the picture. And I honestly, the Giants did try and get those guys. They just weren't available. So I'm not
Oh,
saying
did
they
they?
would
Yeah.
or would have, but they just weren't available from the teams. So, I mean, I don't know. At this point, is it worth it to trade picks when we're probably gonna have a top 10 pick? I don't know. Probably not. We need those second, third round picks. I don't know who's available, but I mean, listen, if you want to get someone that's, unhappy where they are, like Jacoby Myers is unhappy where he is right now. Listen, if it's a cheap price, you get Dart another weapon, but it comes with re-signing the guy and stuff. So, I mean, it's a little difficult. Giants, I mean, should they get a weapon? Yeah, I mean, fans will want it, but
Right. Yeah, we're
is this the
fan. Of
smart?
course, we say yes, but
Is this the smartest thing? I don't know.
I don't
At this
know.
point,
It's
yeah,
tough, man. I
it's really a tough
honestly,
call.
because Scat was such a big part of the offense. I mean, he had what, 740 yards, a few touchdowns. Like that was. I understand that he's not that the receiving core since Neighbors went down has been super super thin. But still, meant a lot to Dart's success as well. I
Huge,
mean,
man.
he had the touchdown against Philly on a nice like little halfback dump off. He's been a red zone machine. Like now, losing Scat also really affects Dart in a very negative way. And at this point in time, man, if you want to give yourself a chance, if you want to give this kid a chance, you can't be giving bubble screens to Theo Johnson. Like you're just
Yeah.
not going to put up points that way. I don't care who the quarterback is. And now the defenses can hone in on Dart's legs. I just think they need it. But yeah, let's move on at this point in time. Talk about the rest of the Sunday slate games. You got the Colts and the Steelers. Not to beat a dead horse, a lot of negative Giant talk today, Andrew, just about the state of the team and how frustrating it's been considering the record could be better. And salt in the wounds is just how good Daniel Jones continues to look week after week after week. What are your thoughts on what he's doing out there in Indy? And also, two-part question. What are your general thoughts? Are you happy for him? Whatever. And is that another checkpoint on the reasons that Brian Dable should be fired?
You know, I will say this. You know, Daniel Jones was a roller coaster with us. So that's how it was. A
It's the
roller
best way
coaster.
to
There
put
were
it, yeah.
ups, there was downs, but listen, I am happy for the guy though. On a real note, like, listen, and this just goes into more about Dable. You're right, because look at the Colts roster. It's just constructed perfect. Good offensive line, great running back, very solid receiving core, a great tight end. Listen, he has all the protection in the world, and that's one thing the Giants never gave him. They never gave him a good O line, and look what he's doing now. He's picking defenses apart. And you listen, happy for the guy. He deserves it, man. You know, listen, everyone pointed fingers that it was all his fault, and even last year, Malik Neighbors got asked in a press conference, "What do you think the biggest problem with this team is?" And you know what he said? It's not the quarterback. He's been saying it. It's not the quarterback. And listen, I am very thankful for Jackson Dart. He's been great. And he's way better than what Daniel Jones was for us. And listen, sometimes it just doesn't work out for teams. Look at Sam Darnold with the Jets, Baker with the Browns, now Jones with the Giants. It didn't work out, and that's just how it is. But like, it's
Yeah.
not the quarterback. I really think it's the front office because we've seen this multiple times now, multiple times.
Different class, but you're right. He's going to fit right into that group of quarterbacks that just it didn't work out at their first destination. And the Jets, I know you'll laugh at this, but the intent in paying Fields $40 million was for him to find his footing, but he doesn't have the internal clock and he has a whole bevy of issues himself. That's a separate conversation. But Daniel Jones, he was brought. I agree with you. I see that we've had all these other quarterbacks that it didn't work out in their first destination. Sam Darnold. It took Sam a long time. I mean, he had to sit under the tutelage of Kyle Shanahan as a backup. He didn't play like Geno, same thing, a different draft. Like these guys, it took a while. They sat under brilliant offensive schemes and Sean McVay and these West Coast offenses, and then they were able to figure it out after that. But Daniel Jones is different in that this was one off season, okay, and he's thrown
With Kevin O'Connell.
one off season with. Yes, I'm sorry, I was bypassing that. He had KOC, and then Steichen. But it's not as if it's a little bit different in that it took Baker a couple stops. Okay, sure. He was on the roster last year, but they were in mid-season form. I doubt that Kevin O'Connell was spending his time and energy trying to develop Daniel Jones and groom him to be their quarterback this year.
I'm not saying that.
McCarthy waiting.
You learned a couple things.
Yeah, I'm sure he learned a couple of things. But he didn't get the learning experience that those other guys got prior to where they are now and having success. You know what I mean by that? Like it one-off that to me is why it is kind of a really bad reflection on Brian Dable and the fact that they couldn't make it work. And I understand that the cards that Dable has been dealt haven't been as sexy and attractive as what the Colts currently have now. Jonathan Taylor's literally having like a Saquon season from last year, a historic season. Their run game is on absolute fire. Their EPA per rush play, I think, is .20, which is off the charts. It leads the NFL. That's like double where the Bills are at. They're at .12 at second place. So yeah, it just goes to show you like he's had everything for that offensive line and Quentin Nelson, and they spent a lot of time building that up. It's helped him a lot. He's using his weapons. He's doing a really great job over there, and he didn't have that. But what I'm saying is that for it to turn around and for the lowest of lows, Andrew, when he got released last year, and the day before he was on scout team as a fucking linebacker, and then and then for him to turn around and look as good as he has, I don't think that's what's defined Brian Dable. But if I'm John Mara and I meet with him at the end of the season, you have to ask a question. Look at what our quarterback that we had last year is doing now. Why couldn't you make that out of him? To an extent, he did in 2022, but it just at the end of the day, though, yes. I mean, we could go in circles about this all day, but I think, Giant fan or not, whoever you are, we're all very pleased to see him succeed. He's a boring guy. I watched him on the Manning cast a couple of Monday night games ago. He has nothing to say. Like, if he was on this podcast right now, it would just be a solo show. He would have nothing to add. He's so boring, but he's a great human being, and we're all very happy for him. Colt. That's a big game for them too. Who you got? Colts, Steelers. They started off 4-1. The Steelers. I think they've lost back-to-back games. Pretty ugly showing. Aaron Rodgers has only beaten 31 teams now. Not going to get that elusive win against his former team, the Pack. Who do you got in that one?
This is going to be I don't know if you call it an upset, but I'm going to go with the Steelers.
Me too.
Because I feel like this just seems like a Steelers win at home. I know they're at home. It seems like this is a game they're just going to play gritty football and just, I feel like the defense will show up a little. Not like, I think it'll be a great game. I think it'll be a close game, but I think this is where the defense gets that one turnover they need to ice the game, and I think they're going to take this one.
Yeah, it feels like, I know on paper it feels like a shootout with these two offenses and everything, and what the Steelers offense is capable of doing when they're clicking with all the tight ends and whatever. And the Colts, who have just demolished everybody on the ground, and Daniel Jones looks not too bad in the passing game as well. But I don't know. The Steelers, Andrew, are paying an extraordinary amount of money to their defense. It's one of the most expensive Hall of Fame flashy defenses ever. And they've kind of been really bad. I mean, look how good the Jets, the worst ranked offense in football by pretty much all accounts, went off against them week one. They made Justin Fields look like Lamar or Jalen Hurts, and he was throwing dimes all over. Like Jalen Ramsey, that pass rush is not what it used to be. I don't know. They've been vulnerable, but I think at some point in time, they have enough veterans. I feel like they could turn the ship around here, play a little bit better. And it just feels like the Colts are due to lose, right? Who's their one loss even to this year? Do you know? Yeah.
Yeah, the Rams.
Rams, that's right. Yeah. Rams look great. Stafford, man, he ages like fine wine. But yes, he's 38, and he's averaging 266 yards a game. The guy's incredible. What a quarterback. Stability, man. I digress. Just a fun factoid that I learned. Guess for me, the top five, the quarterbacks all-time regular season top five in losses. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but off the top of the noggin, all-time quarterbacks with the most losses, top five. Stafford's on the list, which shocked me. But think about all those Lions teams. Yeah, he was like third. Think about all those brutal Lions teams where he was putting up a ton of points.
How many losses does he have? Stafford?
I forget. I don't know. But the top five, I think he was third. I forget all the numbers. But there should be another one you definitely know.
Is Eli in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eli was 500.
Yeah.
Eli.
He was in there. There was some bad Giants teams too.
Yeah, he was 500, and even think about the teams that had those great playoff runs and everything. What was it? His second Super Bowl. That team was 9-8 in the regular season.
9-8 run to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find. Because now,
Yeah.
why doesn't it say? Yeah, he was 4-12 his first year. Like there was a lot of bad teams that he had to deal with. Where are the Yeah, I was trying to find. But yeah, no, it's Stafford, it's Eli, it is Vinny Testaverde with the Jets. He had some good years. They're all good quarterbacks that are on that list because obviously you've been around a long time to compile that many losses. I mean, if you're Josh Rosen, you can't get on that list because you're not going to be able to hang around long enough, or Johnny Manziel. And Joe Namath, was he on there? I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, no, look that up after the show. Very fun trivia question to play around with people. Let's take a look at some of the other games that are taking place this year. That is definitely the best game in the 1 o'clock slate. It feels like a pretty weak 1 o'clock slate. You got the Chargers and the Titans also teeing off. The Titans are a mess. They will probably get demolished there. The Giants are the only another fun fact that I have in my notes here. Brian Dable in the Giants era is 35% win percentage. The only teams, not the Jets actually. I was surprised they were left off of that. The only team to lose as many games in Dable's era are the Titans, and they've went through 3 coaches. So there you go. Maybe that's another reflection of whether he should be here or not next season. You got the Lions and the Vikings. I don't even know who the Vikings are starting at quarterback, Andrew. Is McCarthy healthy
I think
again?
JJ's back this week. Carson went on the IR. He's out for the year.
Out for the year, and I assume that he was like a middle of the tier backup quarterback. He had a big turnover issue these last few starts that he got. I don't even know if he'll see another NFL field again. He's terrible, so bad. Broncos, Texans. Who you got in that one? I don't know what's going on with the
Broncos
Texans.
still.
They are so
Texans?
they're so out of whack offensively. Do you have anything to add with like what are you seeing from them?
Well, who, the Texans?
Yeah.
You know what the biggest problem with them this year has been? It's been the lack of time C.J. Stroud has had in the pocket. He just can't get any throws out. And listen, they have talent on offense. You know, Nico Collins, they can't get the ball to him because he has no time. It's like they've got to have let up the most sacks this year.
Yeah, probably. I remember we played the Texans. Today's Halloween, yeah. So a year ago today, the night after the historic Game 5 nightmare that we all remember all too well. Yeah, the Jets had one of their 5 wins against the Texans at home
Right.
on Thursday
Yeah,
night. And yeah, I mean, even going back to then, and they poured money into this offensive line, but veterans have underperformed, injuries. It's been really brutal. The Jets, they got home to CJ probably 5 or 6 times. It was the best defensive performance that we had because we were just ramming right through their O-line. They're terrible. And as you said, you know, their first year with Stroud, his rookie year was obviously, he's a rookie phenom. They were great. Did they win a playoff game? I know that they went to the playoffs.
They beat the Browns.
They beat the Browns. They looked so good, and they were kind of able to overcome that, but not anymore. It's been brutal. CJ Stroud is definitely not the problem over there, and they're on the outside looking into the playoff picture. You got the Panthers and the Packers. Panthers are 4-4 right now, but it feels like a drop-off is coming, especially with how Bryce Young looked against the Jets. He was far from spectacular. To his credit, I mean, he looked so unequipped to be an NFL quarterback his first few starts his rookie year. But he has progressed under Canales. The weapons are there. Tate McMillan, I criticize that draft pick heavily. It didn't feel like a good pick, but he's been a huge weapon for Mr. Young in the passing game. They look okay, but I don't see them pulling off like 8 or 9 wins. You think it's sustainable? I think the bottom falls out with them.
Packers are getting hot again. They look good. I mean, Jordan Love looks amazing. They've gotten healthy too. They got Christian Watson back. They're getting healthy. So,
yeah, it feels like fool's gold a little bit with the Panthers at 500, and they just got their doors blown off by the Bills at home. Bengals, Bears. This is probably the second most attractive in the 1 o'clock slate. I want to know your thoughts on, I don't know, I mean, the Giants were on at the same time. I probably didn't watch the Jets game. But that Bengals defense, there are season ticket holders that are retracting their season tickets for next year's because their ownership is so bad. And listen, from a Jet fan perspective, I could have a whole episode, and I did earlier this week. I was on solo talking about how excited I was about the win following the tragic death of Nick Mangold, who we lost at a way too young age. how much it meant for AG to finally get that first win out of the way, and for all the tumultuous things that took place over the week, for the Jets to be able to get that win and Fields look as good as he was and us open up the run game. Defense regressed. That was concerning. But offensively, it meant a lot for the Jets to be able to produce that well, and it possibly prevented Breece Hall from being on the chopping block at the trade deadline just because of how good he looked, especially in the fourth quarter, and the big play to win it to Mason Taylor. Like, great from a Jets perspective. And I could have my green tinted goggles on, or whatever the hell the phrase is, that we scored 39. But let's be real, none of that's possible with how bad, how Swiss cheese that Bengals defense is. Do you even think that they have a shot at the playoffs with how ugly it's been?
You know, just like, no offense to you, but just not even being able to beat the Jets just gives them, like, what are we doing? Like, listen, and I give all my props to Aaron Glenn and the Jets, after everything that happened this week.
No, they could have rolled over and died, Andrew. Like, they were down 17 to 3.
They were down like 2 scores, and they kept fighting back. I saw a little of the game, but it was like 31-16 or 15. And
various points throughout the game. Down 17-3, down 31-16, and with 9 minutes to go, down 38-23. Like, they were resilient the whole way. Those 2-point conversions felt like Glenn pushed every button right, no doubt about it. But for the defense could have gotten away with. What I'm trying to say is the defense for the Bengals could have gotten away with that if the Jets didn't roll over and die, which the Jets have done a lot this year. But they didn't roll over and die, and the defense got exposed. And they poured. I heard Gruden on a podcast earlier this week talk about it's not like their ownership stinks and they need to pour more resources into the defense, but it's not like they haven't. I mean, some of those linebackers and corners and safeties, their secondary, we just got done ripping the Giants secondary earlier. Mm-hmm. Much like the Giants, like they've used first-round draft picks on those guys. They've paid them, they've given them extensions, and they're not getting it done. Really poor angling and tackling all across the board from those guys. The only guy that really looks good is C.J. Turner, whatever his name is, who gave up the game-winning touchdown to Mason Taylor. But the Bears at the same time, this is a get-right game for Caleb Williams, who looked really bad on some of those interceptions last week. Who you got? I mean, this is a game I feel like the Bears can explode offensively, and Caleb could kind of turn the page, who's had an up-and-down year. But at the same time, it's a Bengals offense. It's two offenses that can score a shit ton of points and two defenses that have gotten exposed. Who's winning? This could go in any direction.
I got the Bears this week. I feel like the Bears, I'm not going to say their defense has been great, but I feel like they've been playing a little bit better on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, a little bit better, yeah.
A little bit better, but I feel like, the Bears' offense has been very shaky this year. They've had really good signs, they've shown really good games, and then they've showed some really poor games, like last week, where they only put up 6 points, I think. And I don't think they scored in the second half of the game last week.
Caleb had some.
But again, like we said, like the Bengals defense is a whole embarrassment. So like, I feel like this game, Ben Johnson needs this one. Get back to 5-3. Still looking at a decent season at 5-3. Listen, this wasn't going to be a 1-year thing. So Ben Johnson got wins under his belt after starting 0-2. I think just stack up all the wins you can get. Build off of it, keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the Bears right now, and I just can't help but think of the Jets 2 years ago when prior to bringing in Rodgers, or 3 years ago now rather, 2021 season, the Jets had started 5-2, and it was like fool's gold the entire time. They were good. They were 3 games above 500. The defense was great, and the whole narrative was, and we brought in Rodgers, and you could write a book about it, quarterback away. If we could get competent quarterback playing here, we're unstoppable. We're Super Bowl contenders because we got the best defense in football. The Bears kind of feel, and it's not their defense has been sensational, but it just kind of feels like they're better. They're worse than their record shows they are. I know Bill Parcells says you are what your record says you are, But I don't know. I feel like they took advantage of some bad football teams in the early going. They diced up a Cowboys defense that is worst in the league, arguably, right up there with the Jets and the Bengals. That secondary is a joke. And yeah, I mean, they've caught teams at the right time, and now they're catching the Bengals kind of at the right time with how bad, historically bad their defense was last week, as we just touched upon. So I don't know. I don't. If I had a gun to my head, I feel like I don't know. Joe Flacco is not the kind of guy that is going to let last week's game dip into this one. He'll turn the page. He's a great veteran leader. I think they're going to score enough points, and I think it's going to be just a shootout, but maybe an ugly shootout. Maybe Caleb throws a few picks. 35-32. Give me Cincinnati. On to Cincinnati, in the words of Bill Belichick. Falcons and the Patriots meet in Foxborough, 1 o'clock start. Falcons do not. This is a tale of teams going in opposite directions. As a Jet fan that had to watch Tom Brady just dissect us for 2 decades plus. Well, it didn't take that long for them to find their next Tom Brady. Drake May is the man. He looks just him and Jackson Dart. Man, the future is so bright for those two guys. They look nothing short of phenomenal in the early returns so far this year. Big statement win against the Bills on the road. I felt like that was the turning point. When you look at May, Andrew, what are your thoughts? Do you really think that this is going to be a guy that wins Lombardis? Are you convinced yet?
Yeah. I'll start off with just a yeah. I am sold on Drake May. I love the way he plays. I love just his poise in the pocket.
Mobility.
He just does everything right. He's just this very smart quarterback. This year, we go from last year to this year. Like, this is what I was kind of talking about a little with Dart before, that, like, sometimes it's more of just what the quarterback's ability is to then what the coaching staff is, which I do think Dable has had a good influence on Dart. I will say that. But I think Dart has shown things that Dable just can't control. Like, just the way he is in the pocket, the way he bounces around in the pocket, kind of like Drake May kind of does it a little similar, not as much, but I think you get what I mean there.
I do.
The quarterback is just the way he plays.
Yeah, and it's shown. The numbers tell you the story. You talk about EPA, which is kind of like WAR in baseball. It's expected points added per play, and Drake May on dropbacks is .27, which is really good. If you're really not familiar with this stat, if you have anything like above .10, it's really good, because that means your expected points on that play goes up that much more through the particular player or team or offense or defense that you're talking about. So yeah, it's kind of a nerdy stat, but it's a good one, and it's a true measure of how good he has been in dropback this year. Looks so poised. Mentally, he looks like Tom Brady. I understand it's not the perfect quarterback comp. Brady probably had a little bit more of a cannon and was a little bit more keen on the mental side of things. Drake May actually has the ability to escape the pocket and use his legs. But he looks so poised. He's delivering the ball on time. Last year, he had a little bit of an issue holding on to the ball, as do most rookies. They have to get over those processing growing pains. But it looks like he's figured it out. Touchdown passes have been there. He's made the most of his weapons. 6th in touchdown passes with 15. 250 rushing yards. We talked about the mobility. Fourth best among quarterbacks. And the Patriots are currently in the driver's seat right now, which is crazy to think about. It really is, because they have the easiest remaining schedule in football, on top of the fact that they're in first place right now, I think. Yeah, so they could go, essentially, they could go on cruise control here. Not that they're going to win out. So we have 10 games left. They go 8-2, 9-1. They're going to win this thing, probably. Bills have some tough games left.
There's a high chance they could be the 1 seed in the AFC then, if they go, what are they, 6-2 now? Yeah.
No, who says no? Yeah, I don't know. They're in the driver's seat, but it's just hard for me. What do the Bills have? 5 straight AFC East titles? I'll believe it when I see it. I'm still taking the Bills. How about you?
So am I,
Yeah. All right, let's see what else we got on the Sunday slate. Not much really to talk about with the Falcons. I don't know about Michael Penix. Like, he's got a great arm, but every time I watch him, I can't help but think of that. And he very convincing win against the Bills too on Monday night. But they got Bijan over there. He's pretty much their whole offense right now. He leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Saints and Rams. We talked about how brilliant Matthew Stafford has been this year. 266 yards per game. I think top 5, definitely top 5 in the league in passing touchdowns. There are questions every single year. It was like Brady going into every year, and obviously he doesn't have the rings. He only has one that Brady has. But going into every season, the conversation around Matt Stafford is he going to slow down? And he only seems to just continue to get better. And now you added Devontae Adams into the mix. There are certain quarterbacks where you're like, oh, all they need is the weapons, right? You know, if you add the ancillary pieces, if you put the right guys around him, then it's going to work. And then it kind of falls on its face and the receiver's unhappy and this and that. No, if you stack the right guys around Matt Stafford, and even if you don't, even with those Lions teams, when he lost Calvin Johnson, who's still very productive as a passer.
He's just a great
But when you put guys around him, he's unstoppable. He's been so good. I assume that you're kind of in lockstep with me here, that they're going to go on cruise control over the Saints.
Mm-hmm. Listen, you're totally right with you think Matt Stafford. And every year it's like, oh, is Matt, like this year, he's considering retirement. No, he's not. We know this guy is not considering retirement. He's going to play until he's like 43, 44. We already know, bro. Like,
it's the same thing with his coach, too. There was actually, did confirm he was considering retirement after a Super Bowl, which is crazy, still in his 30s, but lifestyle choices, everybody's different. But no, these guys are going to keep it going as long as they can. And man, oh man, would I honestly, just as an independent observer, as somebody that perennially is rooting for another team come December, because our teams are incapable of having nice things, no playoff games for us. I would love to see him. I actively have never really rooted for the Rams in the playoffs this year, but this year I am. I want to see this guy get another ring. It's so impressive what they do on a week-to-week basis. They have some great, I mean, if you have any of those guys on your fantasy squad, they put up great points every week. And yeah, I think this will be, I don't even know what the spread is. I assume it's somewhere around like 14-17. I would still slam the Rams. And then the Jaguars and the Raiders. Jaguars and the Raiders, who you got? It's going to be a barn burner.
Jaguars, Raiders. I got the Jaguars.
Give me,
and, you know, this is going to sound, I don't know how you feel about him, but I'm just going to give you my take right here. I don't like Trevor Lawrence at all.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about him. Don't like him at all. This is going to bottom 7 quarterback in the league. I do not think he's good at all. I think he holds back the offense. And listen, I'm not, we're going to get into another point here, but like, this stuff with BTJ this year, like, is he trying? He's not, doesn't look the same. I mean,
right.
I think it's relative to also Trevor Lawrence. I don't think he's a good quarterback. Like, how was BTJ able to produce with Mac Jones last year? I don't know.
Yeah, I know the trade rumors and everything. Is he not trying? It is unbelievable. I mean, you see quarterbacks across the league who have sophomore slumps or whatever, but somebody of Thomas's talent and how great he was last year with pretty much everything. The Jaguars had a horrible year. Lawrence was hurt, as you just touched upon. Mac Jones, who the Giants see this week, made it work with them. But it almost feels like a Garrett Wilson vibe with the Jets. It felt like last year it didn't matter who was throwing to him. He was still going to rack up his yards. He put up historic numbers for a rookie. Well over 1,000 receiving yards, and the fall off has been incredible. I mean, their offense has done a lot of things well, and you would think he would be right at the top of the list, but he just hasn't. He's been absentee, and we'll see if that changes. I don't know. I have to say, I was totally agreed with everything that you just said about Lawrence, pretty much since year 2. I kind of felt that way about him. But then, following that home Monday night win against the Chiefs, where they make that incredible play in the end zone where he falls down and still throws the touchdown, and they're tied with the Colts for first place in the AFC, whatever that was after week 5 or 6. And I'm watching the Pat McAfee show, and Liam Cohen's on there talking about execution, and they're going to get better, and they do all these things well. That kind of pulled me back in on the Trevor boat. And then they just put up a stinker against L.A. L.A. had landed in London or wherever the hell that abroad game was, 24 hours prior to the game. The Jaguars were there all week to prepare, and they get their doors blown off, and the offense looks bad. They're turning the ball over. Brian Thomas continues to just be a zero in the passing game. Like I'm kind of now out on them again until we see them make the playoffs again. And until you see, like, even when they did make the playoffs, they had that insane comeback against the Chargers. Didn't really feel real. I could see Trevor Lawrence leading them to the playoffs, but once they get there, I still won't be convinced that they're Super Bowl contenders until I see it. So yeah, give me the Raiders, honestly. I know they're probably big dogs at home here, but man, they beat the Patriots in week 1 or whatever it was, and it's not working out. That quarterback coach veteran duo is not what it was supposed to be right now. The offense is brutal. The defense has nothing outside of Max Crosby, but man, they need a win at home. Sometimes they just surprise you. Sometimes that defense, for whatever reason, in the Max Crosby era, will just shut down opposing offenses at home. I think they get to T-Lo a few times and they win an ugly one, like 16-12 or something. And then we will wrap it up talking about the primetime games. 25 slate. Andrew, it's probably the game of the week. It never disappoints, regular or postseason. It's the Bills and Chiefs in Buffalo. Who do you have winning this game? Chiefs are favored.
I got the Chiefs. The Chiefs look like probably the best team in the AFC right now besides the Broncos. And I think the Broncos probably, around the league, are probably the best team in the AFC right now. I don't think so, but
their offense is just not good enough, but go ahead.
But
Continue.
they're winning games, so but the Chiefs started off so slow. What were they, 0-3? 0-2? But
They were
now
1-3.
So
yeah.
They're firing on all cylinders. They just got Rashee Rice back. He looks great. Kelsey has looked better the past couple weeks. Yeah, and Mahomes playing like an MVP. I think this is going to be a Chiefs win. I mean, the Bills came off a nice win last week. They've been a little cold recently, but...
Yeah, I hear you, man. The Chiefs, I heard something interesting that Chris Collinsworth said, and it's being echoed throughout the NFL world on X and whatever. The Chiefs last year, they started off 7-0 or 8-0, and they were winning games, and they were doing it the Chief way, late in the fourth quarter, just battling teams till the bitter end and finding a way to win. We always talk about that with the Chiefs in the postseason or whatever. They could be sluggish in the first half. They could come out, and Mahomes could not be in rhythm. But then you look up, and at the end of the day, they get the win. They score more points than the other team. And they weren't doing that the first few weeks of the season. It felt like it was the inverse. They were finding ways to lose. They found a way to lose to the Jaguars. They found a way to lose to I can't remember off the top of my head. But they got off to that 1-3 start. But now that the weapons are back, now that Rashee Rice is back, Kelsey's finally getting open again, creating separation, it feels good, man. Once again, they are the betting favorites to win the Super Bowl. They're whole, they're healthy, the run game's going again. They just obliterated the Raiders a couple weeks ago at home. They pitched a shutout there. Defense is pulling it together a little bit. They're stopping the pass at a really good clip. And man, I'd be hard pressed to see them lose this one. I know a feel-good win for the Bills in Carolina, where they just stomped all over a pretty mediocre team in the Panthers. But yeah, the Bills and the Chiefs, I would like to see the regular season numbers over the past 5 years, Andrew. I feel like it's been very much back and forth, and the road team has prevailed a lot. And I think the road team prevails in this one. I know last year these two teams also met in Buffalo, and Buffalo took care of business there. But this year I think it's different. I think Josh Allen, I'm worried. I am very worried about that receiving corps, much like the Giants. Their WR1 right now is probably Keon Coleman, and he ranks among one of the worst receivers in creating separation. They need somebody to step up over there. If they don't do anything at the trade deadline this year, shame on them. They need to get Josh Allen some help. I understand he's a Superman and that he's going to find guys no matter what you put around him. But if you have Super Bowl hopes, get this man a Stephon Diggs back. Like, not exactly Stephon Diggs because he's not going anywhere. But go trade for Waddle, go trade for Olave, go get yourself an upper echelon receiver because they need it. And the defense is suspect too. I'm a little worried about the Bills. I still think they're going to win the division. I actually do. But I'm a little worried about them big picture. I think they're going to win a ton of games the rest of the way and just eke it out over the Patriots by one game. But yeah, I have the Chiefs in that one. And then finally, the Sunday night game between the Seahawks and the Commanders. We talked about Daniel Jones and how excellent he is and how happy for his success with the Colts. But you also got to take a look at Sam Darnold, the guy who is now 5-2. He got paid, and he's been nothing short of great so far with the Seahawks. He's utilizing his weapons so well, something he never really had in New York. And even it's funny because everybody was worried about him. When he signed the big deal with Seattle, the $180 million deal, whatever it was. Well, he doesn't have JJ. He doesn't. Well, you know what? He's got Jackson Smith and Jigba, who looks pretty damn good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
JSN has been incredible. Seattle's been rolling as well. I love their offensive coordinator. He's done a great job this year. Clint Kubiak. He's done a good job with Darnold. Darnold looks great. He's not making mistakes. He is probably one of the best deep balls in the game right now. Honestly, his deep ball has been ridiculous this year. He's finding open receivers. He's accurate. I have nothing bad to say about Darnold anymore. He is completely proven probably everyone in the league wrong, and including you.
Not including me.
I know you were a big Darnold guy.
No. I'm not taking that. I am the most staunch defender of Sam Darnold ever. I wanted to keep him. Now
I remember that. I do, but
yeah, I know you do. But listen, at the end of the day, I've educated myself about this a little bit more, and I did want to keep him, and I wanted to sign him in free agency. I wanted to do this, but it took him a long time, man. It's not like Daniel Jones, like the overnight fix. I mean, this guy, he failed in Carolina. He was bad there. It was the same Sam that he was in New York, maybe worse. He was throwing a ton of interceptions. Then he has to sit, and he sat under Kyle Shanahan for a full-ass year and didn't play. Am I missing anywhere? Niners? And then he goes...
The Panthers?
Huh?
Did you say the Panthers? Did he play there?
Yeah, Panthers, he failed there. Then he goes, and he gets a full year under watching the West Coast offense and Kyle Shanahan. And Kyle Shanahan is brilliant at developing quarterbacks of Darnold's profile, pocket passers, guys that like to use their deep ball. That West Coast offense fit him perfectly, and he didn't even have to play in that. He just got to learn, soak in, and absorb like a sponge. Then he goes over to Minnesota, wins a quarterback battle, similar type offense with KOC, and it's just everything's been precision, man. It's been precision accuracy. He knows how to thread the needle. You touched upon the deep ball. He's got time, and when you give him, he's another guy that, like Matt Stafford, just utilizes his weapons to the nth degree, and it's really working out over there. And I wish him the best of luck too. I don't like the Seahawks. Everybody likes their uniforms. I think their uniforms are stupid, but
is it just because Darnold's
too much going on? But yeah, I mean, yeah. So go Darnold, but Seattle's a weird city. I don't know. This feels like. But hey, man, the man got paid too. I like to see quarterbacks get paid, and he got paid, and he deserves everything that's come his way. All right, that ought to do it for the NFL segment. I feel we're reaching up to an hour here. And I think I honestly want to keep it at this because there's so much. I don't want to stop and then, because I really do want to dive into the Knicks at a later point, and there's so much to talk about with that. So yeah, we'll just keep it at the NFL talk at this point in time. You got the Giants. Last thing, Giants, Niners. We talked about the defense so much and how bad they've been, and Shane Bowen has shown nothing. Not a thing to show you any evidence that this can be flipped. But for whatever reason, I know that the Niners are above 500, but they have the 25th ranked offense in football. They have Mac Jones, who's credit to Mac Jones, another guy. He's not the story that Darnold's been or Daniel Jones. Maybe one day he will be, but at least he's turned himself into a viable backup quarterback. I mean, when things were going bad there in New England, he looked like he needed to be out of the league. But he's at least shown the signs he's a viable backup. The Niners, they found ways to win, but I don't know. I feel like the defense for the Giants gets it together. I think this is going to be low scoring. I'm still picking the Niners, but I think at least you guys will walk away with this one feeling a lot better about your defense. I will predict the Niners 20-16.
Yeah, I think the Giants will play better in this one. I think Brock Purdy's back this week. I think this is...
Are you sure about that? Oh,
yeah.
Just went on a whole thing about Mac Jones. Yeah.
I'm like 80% sure he should play this week. Let me look. He was limited Wednesday and Thursday, so he's got a chance to play.
Honestly, if Purdy plays, I feel better about the Giants' chances
Yeah,
because
that's what I was gonna say. I think if Purdy plays, it helps the Giants a little bit more
he's going to have some
because
rust.
Purdy hasn't played in like 6 weeks. So, and listen, that team is beat up. I wanted we could talk about my Giants being beat up. That's another team that like I could feel bad for because though they've been beat up this year too, just as bad as us. So
Yeah, their defense, man. They lost. Fred Warner's out for the year, right?
yeah, he had pretty much the same injury as Scadaboo.
And he was off to a great start as well. Stinks. The good thing about that injury, though, and we didn't really talk about the injury, it's a lot better, especially for
Yeah,
a skill position player than Terry. It's a clean break. It's an easy fix. He's already wheeling around the facility. And there's no doubt in my mind Scott's going to be back and stronger than ever next year.
yeah.
And same thing with Warner. But anyway, that was a digression. Finish your game pick. And also, let me just add on to that. Do you think that the lack of weapons around Jackson Dart catches up to him this game? Because they still scored 20 points last game. I think I'm sorry, no offense to Dart, but I think it will catch up to him this game.
Yeah, listen, there's nothing against Dart. He can't really control this. I mean, I think they. I'm not saying this is good, but they did pick someone up this week. I mean, I think Ray McLeod's a little bit better than Hyatt and stuff. I mean, he's not a bad receiver. He helps a little. I mean, the weapons will catch up. I mean, if we don't, Daniel Bellinger has been one of his favorite targets recently. He's been better, that guy. I don't know if he's gonna play. I think it'll also be low scoring, and it's funny that I have to say Daniel Bellinger is.
I can't believe it.
No,
I didn't watch the Giants game live. I just watched the extended highlights. Literally, it's so frustrating. Jackson Dart should have legitimate perimeter outside receivers to throw the ball over the middle of the field to. Instead, he's trying to hit Theo Johnson on a double move down the sidelines. Like
that was in the middle of his hands that he
bubble
dropped.
screen. You're designing bubble screens for tight ends that are like, it's so frustrating. They need to trade for. I don't give a shit that they're 2-6. That I don't care if they were 0-8. Jackson Dart has been great, and he deserves better weapons. He just does. Go make a trade. Go give up a freaking third-round pick. It's not like Shane does anything with his third-round picks anyway.
You know, you got a good point there.
He's going to draft a linebacker that can't tackle anybody. So might as well trade the pick and go get a receiver. So frustrating. I sound like a diehard Giant fan, but I follow the team. Yeah, I'm really molding now. No, I'm jealous of the train that you guys are on. I always say it. There's nothing worse in football than being lost at the quarterback position. There's nothing worse. I mean, if you don't have the quarterback, this is obvious, but it's true. If you don't have the quarterback, you got nothing. And when that position is a void, your team will always be in search mode. Okay? They always will. And there was an argument about Purdy a few years ago when they got to the Super Bowl that guy's a game manager. Well, you know what? The game manager got to the Super Bowl, so clearly he's doing something right. But when your quarterback's not doing the right things, you could still have a good record, but the bottom will fall out eventually. And you guys look like you figured that out. So that's the most important thing to me. But yeah, I mean, I think it's less about the record. I don't see them winning this game. What's your final score? Go ahead.
I'm going to go very similar to you. I'm going to go 24-18. I mean, kind of mid to low scoring. 24-18 Niners.
Niners, yeah.
And let me ask you something real quick. I know it's a little, but now that we're into the football talk, kind of, we're coming towards the end here. Now, I got to ask you, we're looking towards, the tankathon, Jets pick, the draft. We're like middle of the season right now. What is this, week 10 we're going into? Week 11? I think it's week 10.
Yeah. This is going to be week 9.
It's got to be a combo. It's got to be in the back of your head. Jets have the first pick right now, I think.
Yeah. Us and the Titans both have one win, I think, on Tankathon right now. We hold the first pick. And where do we go with that? It's fairly obvious to me if they have one. This is the thing. Like, I'm not rooting for losses for a multitude of reasons, and we could talk about that another time. But I'm not worried. Like, if Fernando Mendoza was like this surefire Ryan Leaf or Trevor Lawrence or this guy out of college that looked spectacular, like a can't-miss number 1 star sensation, then I wouldn't be all for tanking, but I'd be playing those mind games a little bit more as to like, oh, maybe we should, I wouldn't mind losing this, I wouldn't mind. But you could we could be in a Zoom call right now with 7 college football analysts, and they would all give me a different quarterback on who the Jets should take number 1. There's 5 to 7 guys out there right now that I wouldn't be that mad with. So that's why I'm not really, and we're going to fall in that. The Jets aren't going to go on some stretch here where they win 7 games and then they fall out of a top 10
Oh,
pick.
the top 5 pick. Yeah.
No, they're going to get a top 5 pick. So I'm rooting for wins. But to be honest with you, if you ask me today, if we have the first pick, who would I take?
Who do you like?
Mendoza looked so polished that last game. I think they put up 45 points. He looks like everything you want out of a modern day quarterback, right? His ability to throw on the move, the mobility's there. He's got a deep ball. He's a little small for my liking, but I do think that his profile can translate well into the NFL, especially his ability to actually throw the ball in the run. Saying a lot of similar sort of sentiments as to when Zach Wilson was drafted, but this guy at least has played against formidable opponents in a big-time conference where Zach Wilson was playing a bunch of scrubs at BYU. Mendoza's shown me something. So I would take him. And yeah, I mean, I haven't really done like a lot of film watching yet or whatever because I didn't plan on having this conversation by fucking Halloween, but here we are. So this is where we're at now. So yeah, I mean, it's draft season, baby. Once again, it's Halloween. And I'm ready for April.
It's both of us. I mean, how many years in a row are we going to be at Halloween where we have 1 or 2 wins and we're like, oh, drafting. It's literally a cycle. High hopes in July. You get a little excited. And you listen, I remember we went to the Yankee game once. You were hyped for the Jet season. You were thinking 7 wins with Fields.
Yeah. My theme this year was I had a 3-word theme. 3 words were my hopes. I didn't even necessarily was all over the playoffs. Playoffs would have been nice. It would have been miracle. All I wanted was this not to happen. All I wanted was my 3 key words were in the hunt. I wanted CBS to be able to show that telegraph in December later in the week, and the Jets to just be on that graphic at whatever it was 6 and 8, 7 and 8. 8 and 8 going into the just give me some semblance of hope when the snow starts to fall on the ground and we have the Christmas tree up. But no, by then I'll know who I want to be my quarterback next year. That's just where we're at. It's a perennial affair. It's a sad state of affairs. MetLife Stadium's going to be empty the rest of the year. I will be one of the few ghosts in there, probably with a brown paper bag over my head. But hey, that's life. That's just the life I chose. I signed up for it. My stupid dad born me. I'm like that 12-year-old kid. I was born into it. I love the team, but they pick you apart. They chew you up and spit you out, that's for sure. And it hasn't been, I mean, you guys have obviously the historical success, but man, in your lifetime,
Hasn't been good.
It's been pretty bad too. But hey, again, the most important thing is the guy that's under center right now and how he looks. So let's see if he can continue to progress. But thank you very much for coming on. Really great episode. Again, everybody, if you're still with us at this point in time, we had arrangements to hit a few other things, baseball off-season related and the Knicks. But yeah, once you get going, I mean, it's October.
Hard to stop.
Yeah, it's hard to stop once you get going talking Jets and Giants and
There's plenty of time for Knicks.
Exactly. We're 4 seasons in. I'll say this about the Knicks. The overreactions to 4 games is ludicrous.
Unbelievable.
Give me a break.
Everyone's frustrated, but the overreactions of saying, oh, Towns can't do this, oh, this can't do that, and, we'll leave it at this, but, for the next episode, but...
Yeah, the overreactions are...
It's a new coach and a new system. You can't go off 4 games. In the last 3 years, they've been 5-5 through the last 10 games. So let them gel together.
Really? They were 5-5 last year? Huh.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. But yeah, no, we'll talk about that another time. I still love Mike Brown. He gave a really extended opening statement after the Bucks loss and everything, and talking about time and execution and things like that. I still feel really good about this team going forward, but we're going to get into that at another point in time. Thank you so much for listening and joining us on this edition of the New York Sports Take. This kid will be back with me pretty soon, probably next week or something like that, and we'll break all that wonderful stuff down. Have a great weekend, everybody. Adios.